Alright guys, so in kickboxing, there's not just one style, there's many styles. In the 80s, the most popular style in America was the full contact rules style, and that kind of gravitated from full contact karate into adding boxing technique. So that style of kickboxing, they differentiated themselves from the other styles by wearing long pants. The rule set said that you had to kick above the waist. So the stance for full contact rules kickboxing was a little bit different than modern day kickboxing that you'd see on TV. So with that being said, I'll kind of go over the full contact rules kickboxing stance. I have a line in between my legs here, so you can kind of use this as a reference. Your big toe on your front foot, close to the line. Your rear heel, close to the line. In full contact rules, they use a lot of lead leg round kicks and side kicks. So sometimes people even get a little bit more bladed, almost 6 and 12. But you still want a little bit of stability left and right. Okay? So you don't want to necessarily be here all the time unless you're just trying to plant a side kick on someone. Alright? So a little bit turned in on the front foot, bladed stance, rear heel close to the line or on the line, big toe close to the line or on the line. This is for full contact rules. Okay? A lot of the kicking styles they would use would be off their lead leg, side kicks, round kicks, hook kicks, those type of things, those type of attacks. So they would use this type of stance a lot. There's other rule styles in kickboxing too, such as low kick, K1, and Muay Thai. The stances for those styles are a little bit different. They're not as bladed as a full contact rule stance, a little bit more squared up, and the angle of the front foot especially is a lot different. Okay? So in full contact rules kickboxing, you'll see a lot of the front foot turned in slightly. With low kick, you can't do that. It's very difficult to check kicks this way. So front foot is going to be facing more forward, parallel with this line here. Rear foot facing out to the side, a little bit more squared up. Now depending on if we're doing K1 or Muay Thai, the hand position will be a little bit different. Okay? Now, with the K1 and the low kick styles, usually on their front kicks, they're using a lot of pushing style kicks to off balance their opponent. And the round kicks are much easier to throw with a lot of power from this stance. Easy just to take a step out and throw a hard round kick. I'm going to go over some of the importance of the positioning of your framework on your stance. In particular, your front knee. Okay, your front knee controls a lot of whether or not you can change direction, whether or not you're stable in your delivery of your straight punches, especially. And I'm going to illustrate why the knee placement is important. So check it out. All right, so we're gonna use this rope kind of as an example of what we would do if we're playing tug of war. So if Reggie and I were pulling on this rope and we're playing tug of war, notice we'll hunker down a little bit, but notice our knee. So if Reggie, you pull a little bit more. There you go. Now we're having to really hunker down and stay in a good stance. All right? Now check this out. Reggie, if you don't mind handing me that stick there. Okay. And you can put the rope down. There you go. So when I'm doing this tug of war, my knee is going to be slightly behind my ankle. Okay? If I throw my punch, I want to keep my knee slightly behind that ankle. Low kick or full contact rules. Slightly behind that ankle. Okay? The moment my knee creeps past my ankle, it's much harder for me to change direction. It's much harder for me to stay stable. And I'll show you why. So, we'll do this again. Reggie and I are playing tug of war here. I creep my knee forward. He gives it a hard tug. I don't have the strength with that position to fight back. So if I'm throwing my body weight forward at a very rapid pace, it's very difficult for me to stop myself or change direction. So same thing happens if I'm playing tug of war here with Reggie, or he's throwing straight punches. His knee creeps too far forward, I can pull him off balance easily as well. Okay, and it's all due to the fact of where his placement is on his framework, his lower framework. So let's go over this one more time. Thank you, Reggie. All right, guys. So when we think of our stance and the way it's shaped, it's kind of shaped like a tripod or a triangle. Okay. So if in my stance I have a point A, point B, and a point C. So at any time, if my knee or my shoulders especially go past my knees, you can see this breaks this triangular position. Okay, I have the most stability here, staying centered. Now there is room for me to shift my weight a little bit, but I don't want to break past that center point too much. The moment I do that, it's really difficult for me to change direction. Check this out. Most people don't consider this either. Let's say I want to throw a 2-3 combo. If I break past the center position very far, it actually slows my punches down, no matter how fast my hand speed is. If I go here, there's a lot more movement. Now, I'm exaggerating on purpose, but the longer you have to travel, the longer it's going to take for you to get to your target. If I can stay a little bit centered and shift my weight slightly, it's much easier for me to get to my target quickly with lots of punches and bunches. All right, guys, I'm going to go over a little bit about your base, the way we should keep this kind of triangular pattern on our base, and why it's important not to break it too much. Okay, so we have point A, point B, and point C. So from our stance, this is the most stable area we have, or a stable stance we have. Okay, now once I start breaking past this point, it's very difficult for me to change direction or follow up with a quick punch afterwards. Okay, so from here, let's say I throw a simple 1-2-3 combo. It's easy for me to get those punches off in rapid succession and have good balance, be able to defend, be able to move if I need to. Super important. If I break this right here, it's very difficult for me to change direction, and I'm about to show you why. All right, guys, now I'm going to show you some don'ts on the stance and on your framework. So remember, we have the triangular pattern, A, B, and C. Let's say I throw a simple 1-2-3 combo, but I break that position very badly. It kind of looks like this. I see a lot of amateur fighters or beginners throw their 1-2-3s like that. They lunge in way past their base. They're way off balance, and it's very difficult to fire that left hook after that straight right hand quickly. Okay, so let's say the other person's throwing a straight right hand in at the same time. Well, now I'm in really big trouble because I can't get out of the way of it. I'm slamming forward. I'm in a position where essentially, in order for me to change direction, I would have to do a one-legged leg extension. And if I'm throwing all of my body weight forward, that's very difficult for me to do on one leg. Okay, so it's better to use my framework for that stability and to be able to shift my weight and change direction. Okay, so remember, that's good. This is going to be bad.